In the second part of my speech, I'm going to talk about how hydraulic systems affect people in their everyday lives. We have modern cars on the road today, all made easier to operate through the hydraulic systems that are incorporated in their design. Each car will generally have 3 separate hydraulic systems. You have your brake system, which is basically operates just like the hydraulic jack I talked about earlier. You apply force to a small piston, which is transferred to a larger piston, which multiplies the force by the ratio between the large and the small piston to apply braking force, stopping force to your car. You have your power steering, which translates the rotational force you apply to the steering wheel to the linkages that control your front wheels. And finally, you have your automatic transmission, which through buildup of pressure inside the transmission will move your gears or shift through the gears, and through decreases in pressure, it'll bring it back down as you're slowing down. Next, I want to talk about hydraulics in the human body. Basically, we're talking about the circulatory system. For blood to flow through your body, you have to have a pump. Everybody looks at the heart, it's a pump. Studies have been done that have figured out the pressure that your heart would have to give out to move blood through the capillaries at the extremes of your body, and the heart doesn't do it. Muscle contractions throughout your body also help. All your muscles in your body are helping the heart pump blood around. That's why when you have a surgery, they put the compression socks on your calves to help squeeze and get that blood flowing back up to your core. Now, when you have problems with your hydraulic system, that is your circulatory system, it comes in 2 basic ways. You got your leaks, bruises, and bleeding, and you have your blockages, which are basically clots. Or, if you're like me, high cholesterol building up in your arteries. These are things that doctors are studying and working on to reduce and make work better, but they do it by checking what the pressure is throughout your body. One of the things the hydraulic system, that is your circulatory system, does not have, that most industrial systems would have, would be a relief valve or a sentinel valve to indicate that there's a problem. Now, in my own personal history, I used to. I haven't had it happen in years, or either that or my blood pressure is in better control than I ever thought. When I would get flushed and excited and, just really moving, I would get nosebleeds because my blood pressure would rise so high. Since your body doesn't have it, it has other indications. You get the flush, you get the faint, and then it gets really bad. So you got to maintain your system properly. Finally, hydraulic systems in the modern world are being developed to help people with disabilities. The Parker-Hannifin Corporation, in their 2013 annual report, their big focus was an exoskeleton that they're assisting to develop with several doctors that's going to help paraplegics walk. It's an amazing system. It's highly computerized. But when it breaks down, when you really get into the basics of it, it's several hydraulic cylinders working in a frame to do the job that your muscles can no longer do. One of the other things that I noticed that I enjoyed looking at were some of the more modern wheelchairs, where they can actually lift the person to a higher or lower them to a lower level to give them more ability to operate within the world. Because when you're stuck in a wheelchair, you're at one level. You can't go up 6 inches to make it so you can reach something on a higher shelf. You can't get all the way down on the ground within 6-8 inches like you can if you can kneel down to get things on the bottom shelf way back in your cupboards. So they're making chairs that are going to give people more mobility up and down to better function within their world. The last thing, it's kind of goofy, and I've seen the commercials for it, are lifting chairs for people who have weakened musculature or no longer have the ability to get up out of a chair by themselves. They have chairs that will actually lift you up so you can get up and move around. In conclusion, I want everybody to understand, properly operating hydraulic systems help people function in everyday life. They're used by people in all walks of life and just about everywhere in the world. And it makes almost everyone's lives easier. Professionals in many different career fields use hydraulic theory in many different ways to explain what they do and to understand effects of other items, how things interact with each other. Remember, hydraulics assists us in our ability to go about our daily tasks and keeps us alive. Without the hydraulic systems operating properly in an aircraft, it's going to crash. Without the hydraulic systems operating properly in your vehicle, you can't stop. And if it's an automatic, you can't go anywhere. Hydraulic systems are everywhere and used by almost everyone. It's a system that people take for granted, they don't understand, and they don't think about it. But without hydraulic systems operating properly and the way they're understood in the modern world, many of the things that we assume are simple and are going to work well for us, they wouldn't exist. Or they'd exist in such a completely different method that it might have taken us 20, 30, 40 more years to develop them. Thank you.